let me just quickly do an intro. So my name is Evgeny. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Zerion. And Zerion is the wallet for the ones who want to be early. So Zerion is great at finding all of the airdrops, finding the newest meme coins, all the tokens that just launched. But today I'm here to talk about something slightly different. So being in the wallet business, we've observed how users are struggling with all of the challenges that are present on being on chain. And the biggest one, and we've been studying many different things, and we realized that the biggest hurdle is really the gas question. Before we jump into the problems that gas creates, let's first talk about how Ethereum got scaled. So obviously, expanding on the transactions per second and the number of transactions in general creates a much more bigger opportunity for new apps to emerge on chain. And we've seen that happening over the past 2 years. By scaling Ethereum 10 times, we've seen an emergence of new applications on top of the layer 2s and Ethereum itself. But looking at the gas cost, so gas cost is really something that enabled that. So this scaling opportunity was, if we look at the A16Z report from just September 2024, the cost of sending USDC went down over 99%. But the question this slide provokes is really like, why are the fees not zero? So it went all the way to like 0.01, but then obviously it's not zero. And there's obvious reason for that, because we need to fight spam, because this gas was historically the only way to prevent block space to be filled with just useless content and new transactions that don't matter for the real users. But let's talk firstly about the things that are still not possible and still are problematic when you still have the gas cost. So first of all, users need to pay any transaction fee for any action that they take on chain. So if we compare that to our online experiences, this is not how it is done on, say, Facebook or Instagram, where you go and you're able to transact right away. And I think this is one of the reasons why a lot of people are so confused by the on-chain experiences. They go to centralized exchanges and they immediately get the familiar user experience, versus on the on-chain applications, you need to pay for the gas. Then obviously it creates the fragmentation issue, because every network has its own gas token. So users, whenever they're trying to use a new application, they need to bridge and have a gas token on this new network. And I guess lastly, I mentioned that previously, but all of that creates this on-chain dilemma. If you are lowering the gas cost, it brings more spam to the network. And we've observed that with Polygon. There was an experiment with Aurora previously, which was providing for the first time zero gas fees, but that was filled with spam. And just to take from the same report of A16Z, if we take the transactions of Base and specifically Uniswap, 60% of them are less than $1 transactions, and the share of these spammy transactions is actually growing. And we see that like the cheaper the gas, the more spam we see on average in any network. So why is it not solved? Why is no one able to like fully permissionlessly create a system where gas is not really an issue? And I think there are two big reasons for that. So first, chains are creating this infrastructure for everybody to deploy on, and they depend on the gas fees as their revenue model. And we've seen that for both obviously layer 1s, but also for layer 2s, as they are extracting a pretty high margin on every transaction that you make there. And second of all, wallets and dApps, they would want to create a better user experience, but at the same time, they don't want to subsidize transactions that are not beneficial to them. So they don't have a way to really understand which user is bringing value to the protocol versus which user doesn't. So about a year ago, we at Zerion started thinking really deeply about this issue and how do we really solve this problem of gas, and how do we eliminate fees while preventing spam from happening on the network. And today I'm happy to announce that we're actually going live in about 6 hours from now. We are going live with the Zero network. So Zero is going to be the first network that will eliminate gas fee for Zerion wallet users first. And what we call it internally is the wallet chain. So this is the first of its kind in a way. A lot of people on Twitter have started teasing that opportunity for quite some time, and we've been working really hard to get Zero off the ground, and today is really the day for us. So I'm very excited for that to happen. So tune in for like a live stream later in the day. So just to explain the concept here and how we are approaching that. So Zerion, because we've been in the wallet business for so long, we can combine our knowledge of the users with the layer 2 stack and the infrastructure behind it. So we can know exactly what a normal user and how do the normal users behave on chain. So we can actually sponsor and subsidize the transactions that we believe are beneficial for the layer 2, while we can continuously keep the network permissionless. Just to explain how we see the ideal user experience on chain. So obviously there's zero gas fees. Second one, because Zerion is built on top of the ZK stack, and that's why I'm very excited to be speaking here as well and joining the ZK Sync family. So we have built-in native account abstraction on the protocol level, which allows us to essentially create the same experience within your EOA. So you don't need to switch networks, you don't need to switch accounts. You can just continue using your private key to sign transactions, but you'll experience this magical feeling of not paying the gas fee at all. And then later this can be extended to support things like account recovery and chain abstraction. And one more thing is we can actually start tracking all of the actions that are coming from an EOA on chain, which opens up an opportunity for, opportunity for rewarding actions on chain coming from your EOA account. So how do we achieve this? So I don't want to go into too much detail, but there are two main components that are involved in the system. So the first one is a custom paymaster that we've deployed on the Zero network, and combining that with a native account abstraction on the ZK Sync stack, we can enable gasless transactions and free transactions as well for any kind of action that you do on chain. So this means that you can go to any dApp that is deployed on Zero and you can start transacting without paying anything. And we can even, you don't even need to have any balance at all to get started. For example, you can deploy your meme coin without having any money, and you can have earn your first money on chain without putting it on funding your wallet completely. And then the reason why it still is permissionless is that we are keeping the gas as the primitive on the network, allowing you to not depend on Zerion as much. So if you want to do a transaction that Zerion for some reason doesn't want to sponsor, you're still able to do that. So we don't want to compromise on the idea that gas exists for a reason there. Lastly, obviously the overall feel of using on-chain applications should feel like magic. And this is what we've been achieving, and this is what we've been striving for. And I'm hopeful that this is going to be the next standard in on-chain user experience. And the second component, as I mentioned, to the whole system is the on-chain DNA. Some of you may have seen this collection before. It has about 400,000 unique owners on-chain. So it's one of the largest, actually, after ENS collections on-chain. It has it stands for DNA stands for Dynamic NFT Avatar. So we've deployed this collection over 2 years ago, and this is really one of the first evolving collections on chain. So as you do transactions in your wallet, your DNA evolves. So the more chains you use, the more balance you have, and things like that influence how your DNA appears and what it looks like. But now we're making the next step with the DNA, and we're introducing the level system to the DNA. So this is what now we call the on-chain DNA, and this contains this information about the level that is contained on the DNA is really indicating how many transactions we are going to sponsor for you. So essentially, the higher level you have, the more Zerion is willing to sponsor your transactions, and the more activity you have on chain, the more assets you have across different chains. All of that contributes to your on-chain score. So this system is focused on supporting the real users over bots, and we know how that real users cannot do, for instance, 100 transactions in a minute. So all of that together contributes to this on-chain humanity system that is going to essentially benefit real users and and prevent bots from coming on chain and just taking over the whole block space. So I think this is it. Yeah, the last slide is missing for some reason, but thanks everybody. I'm excited for Zero launch. So if you are joining later tonight, we have the live stream. So tune in for that. You can go to Zero on Twitter and you would find all the relevant info. The Zero network is actually already live in the private mainnet stage. So you can come and check out and start bridging money and start testing and playing around with the free transactions. Thanks all for your attention.